So this week you're the first Australian Treasurer to visit China in 7 years. What's the purpose of the visit and who will you be meeting?
It will be the first Treasurer's visit for 7 years. This is part of our effort to stabilise a really important economic relationship. This is a relationship full of complexity but full of opportunity as well. And we believe that you get more out of this relationship when you engage, as we have been. And so the main purpose of my visit to Beijing later in the week will be the strategic economic dialogue, primarily with the NDRC and its chair, Zhang Shanjie, and I'll be meeting with a number of my counterparts in order to compare notes on the economy, to work through any issues that we might have between our two economies, but recognising that a more stable relationship, and particularly a more stable economic relationship between Australia and China, is a good thing for our workers and our businesses and our investors and for our country more broadly. And so I will be engaging enthusiastically with my Chinese counterparts on Thursday or Friday this week.
At the same time we see a trip to China, we see the PM over there with the US and Japanese and Indian leaders for another instalment of the Quad, which is all about the security threat posed by China. Quite the juxtaposition, isn't it?
Oh, not necessarily, Andrew. I mean, I think we've made it clear as a government from the Prime Minister down, and I salute his leadership, but Penny Wong and Don Farrell and Richard Marles and other colleagues, Madeleine King, we've made it really clear that stabilising the relationship with China is a very key economic priority. We can do that while we manage the complexities in the region, some of which are being discussed by the Prime Minister and his counterparts as we speak. We've shown an ability and a willingness to engage because we believe it's good for our country when we engage. My part of that is the strategic economic dialogue, engaging with decision makers in China and counterparts, making sure that we maximise the opportunity and manage the complexity of this really crucial economic relationship for Australia.
Just briefly, how concerned are you about the current Middle East tensions upsetting the world economy right at a time it's slowly starting to get back on its feet?
Look, my primary concern in the Middle East is for the human cost of this violence and this really quite extraordinary developments that we've seen in the last few months. So my primary concern is for the human cost, but there will be an economic cost as well. We see that in the volatility in the oil price, for example. We are gravely concerned about the consequences of a broader and deeper regional conflict in the Middle East. There's a human cost to that, which is the most important, but there is an economic cost as well. The global economy is really uncertain right now, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, whether it's other issues playing out. There is a lot of uncertainty, there is a lot of volatility. A lot of that comes from geopolitics and conflict. And so we monitor that really carefully because what happens in the global economy has big consequences and implications for us.
And briefly again, Peter Dutton's giving a speech on his nuclear plan tomorrow in Sydney. As I understand it, he won't be outlining the cost of the plan yet. What do you think about how viable the plan is and what it will mean at election time?
Well, I think Peter Dutton's nuclear fantasy is economic insanity. You know, it costs more, it will push power prices up. It will take longer. It will only, at best, deliver a sliver of what we need in energy, and it will turn Australia's back on our unique combination of advantages. He has gone characteristically for the most divisive option with the least details. He needs to come clean tomorrow in this speech. What will it cost? What will it mean for power bills? How will he pay for it? And what will Australia do for the decades it will take to build these reactors? I think that this is economic insanity, what Peter Dutton is proposing. It is divisive and there are no details. His speech is a big opportunity to come clean on the details, on the costs, on the timing, so Australians know what he's seeking support for at the election. He is a big risk to energy and to power prices in this country. The fact that he's not prepared to release those details, I think, should ring alarm bells for every Australian. It's time for him to come clean.
And finally, Treasurer, I saw the Sydney Swans win live on Friday night. Saturday, last night, Brisbane had a famous victory. Will you still be in China when the game's on? I'm trying to watch from there.
I'll be on my way back. Hopefully I'll be in an airport somewhere on the way back watching the mighty Brisbane Lions. They've shown a lot of fight and a lot of heart the last couple of weeks. I know that your team, the Swans, have been for most of the season the form team in the competition, but we've shown a lot of fight. We've shown a lot of heart. And I think that was personified last night by the Big O, dislocating his shoulder not once but twice in the same prelim. I think that was a real indication of how much heart there is in this Brisbane Lions squad. I think it's going to be an amazing grand final next week, and I hope we can get over the top of your Swans.
Treasurer, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.